Welcome, everybody, back to the Tiz Talk podcast. I am your host, Chuck Tiz, aka Taylor S. And tonight I have two very special guest hosts with me tonight. We have a familiar voice, Jared, and a new guest, Johnny or John, however you want to call him, one of Jared's buddies from Tulane University.
Mm-hmm. What's good?
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? John, give a quick introduction, and Jared, you can either reintroduce yourself or do whatever you want.
Go ahead, John. What's up? I'm John. Go to school out in New Orleans, going to Tulane from Georgia. Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Yeah, man. Of course, I'm always down to have new people on the show, man. Things starting to take off, so the more guests, the more interesting it gets. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Can we pause a second and just?
Oh my God! Geez.
And just no. I just wanna thank whoever created the microphone you're using, Chuck, because you sound crisp as an apple.
Oh, you mean you? Okay, not literally pause, but like pause to do that. Yeah, we're not going to give a shout. We're not. I'm not giving a shout out to someone who's not cutting the check. So.
Well, I didn't mention any names, but I'm just saying you sound.
Yeah, I did get a new setup. I got a new setup, so yes, it sound clear. But until they sponsor me and cut the check, I'm not going to shout the names out.
That's facts.
Oh yeah,
that's facts, son. That's facts.
Hey, I mean, none of y'all know John, but my boy John, man. Let me just describe John, the unit Rumpf. All right, big guy, big fella. He's about size. What shoe? 17.
16.
No 16. Fucking way.
Yeah,
really?
Size 16 shoe. You know what they say? Big shoe.
How tall are you?
You know what they say?
6'1".
Big foot, big shoe. Wink, wink.
I'm 6 foot. I wear a 10. How's that possible?
Dude, I have good balance.
You have good balance. You got fucking
dude, John would go
grizzly bear feet.
John would have gone to the MLB if he wouldn't have hurt his shoulder.
Oh, so you're a baseball player?
Once upon a time.
Okay, then tonight we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about the Astro scandal.
Good.
Because I didn't know you. That wasn't what we were going to talk about. But now
I'm just saying, John, if you oppose that shit, I'm gonna light you up like a Christmas tree.
Okay, Jared, just keep your mouth shut for a second. He has his opinions and he can state them. Okay.
All right,
this is an open platform. Everybody has the right to say whatever they want. Okay, guys. Sorry, we got off on a real weird foot there.
That was quite the start. I mean, it was all about my foot.
That's a nice pun,
Mr. Bigfoot over here. No hate. I'm just fucking around.
John looks like a country music singer gone linebacker gone farmer.
So those all look like the same thing usually. So what do you mean?
Good call, dude. Good call.
Like, let's be a country music singer turned farmer. Really?
No, but you got to add in the linebacker.
I think more lineman than linebacker.
Yeah, he's more of a lineman. Maybe back in the day he was a linebacker.
When I played, I was 6'1", 270.
He's been eating too many freaking Sonic meals.
No, I just haven't been in the weight room enough.
You guys are ridiculous. Okay, the funny thing is, pod listeners, these two gentlemen are like 14 years younger than I am. I'm a 33-year-old man, and I love having these young guys on my show because, especially Jared, because Jared's a smart guy, and he schools me on my own show sometimes. And I'm like, man, I can't have this guy on my show anymore. He makes me look like an idiot. and then I meet John over FaceTime a couple weeks ago.
Dude, John schools my ass.
Yeah, well, I listened to the pod y'all dropped on yours. Did you come up with the new name? Can we drop that?
Yeah, the new name. Yeah, it's the new episode coming out tomorrow with Chuck Tiz and Johnny Boy. It's gonna be the new title of the podcast is gonna be All things necessary, because we talk about all things, but only the necessary shit that we want you to hear.
All right. Yeah, I told you I like that. I like
It's
that.
a good name.
Yeah, I think it's better than the other one.
Way better. The other one was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need to start being more persistent, dude. You need to start
I'm
dropping
ready.
pods more often.
I got the mic coming in tomorrow. The keyboard. We're gonna be living lavish.
It's got to be the same day every week.
Well,
it's
nah,
gonna
like the
be-
way so my the way I do things, guys and listeners, I like to at least drop, 2 to 3 a week. I don't like to do one every day because that's just too much content and people are like, they're not going to listen to it every day. You want to drive that like anticipation for them, like to wait for the pod to drop, right?
Gotta have time to
yeah.
hype up the fight. You know what I mean? WWE, you can't have a fight every day, right, Chuck? Gotta have the promos. You gotta have all that shit.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's a really weird, like
one way to look at
comparison, but I like it. Me being a WWE or wrestling fan, not really today's wrestling, but like back in like the late '90s when WWF, WCW shit was going on. I don't even know if you guys were born yet, but
Georgia Championship Wrestling is the move.
yeah, dude. Okay, so you know about the territory wrestling. That's where it really all started. NWA, all that stuff. But the National Wrestling Alliance, Dusty
the other
Rhodes,
NRA.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
the other NRA. Okay, well, so guys, lots of stuff's been going on in the world today. The fucking, first of all, you got the coronavirus, which has just gone absolutely ballistic, causing the markets to go absolute haywire. Bounce back, but I have a feeling they're going to take another drop.
Yeah, but the
soon.
Fed's also made a rate cut, which kind of cushioned it a little bit.
Yeah, but that rate cut was the first emergency rate cut since
2008
crash. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, oil dropped the other day for the first time to, I think it was at $43 a barrel, the first time since 2016.
And gold's all over the place right now. People don't know what to do.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was about to say. My man, ALT, not going to say his full name. He a while ago, last semester, so around maybe September, October, started buying up gold. He'd buy a little bit every month, and now he's got a stockpile of it for an occasion like the dollar failing or the market crashing and gold skyrocketing.
You know who you need to talk to about that is Too Woke to Go Broke. Too Woke.
Man, I wish Too Woke was on here.
I know. I sent him the invite. He might join later, but I don't know. Regardless, he collects gold like crazy. Yeah. He's very knowledgeable about gold. Like he is one of those guys that literally buys gold on the regular.
Then he must be in all the pawn shops right now, because what happens when this during this is old gold is what everyone sells old gold during these.
But he's not even doing it during the crashes. He's just always buying gold because gold holds its value very well.
I'm looking at a chart of gold right now. Well, gold's a good hedge. I'm looking at a chart of gold. In January 1980, gold was at around $2,200 for what is that? An ounce of gold?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm not looking at it.
I think it's an ounce. If I'm wrong, correct me. But then in let's see, what year was that? Right when the financial crisis hit, and 2,200 is the highest it's ever gone. When the financial crisis hit, actually, it was climbing all the way until it was pretty much stabilized. The financial crisis in 2012, and then it started decline, and it peaked there at 2,000, and now it's declined and it's making a parabola, and it's on an uptrend, sitting at around 1,600. And it's on an uptrend
right now.
Yeah, so it's around there, and it's on an uptrend. And I mean, I think, look, if it were to happen, it probably won't go above 2,000 because that's where it maxed out during the 2008 crisis.
Yeah, but this could be a whole if coronavirus keeps going and
wait, what year? What year was Nixon president?
Like 65. I think it was like mid 60s.
Yeah, so that's when gold started because he took us off the gold standard, and that's when gold started to go on a downtrend.
Nixus was 69 to 74.
Yeah,
Was it 69 to 74? Okay, yeah, because it was after JFK and LBJ.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I watched this documentary on Fort Knox, and there's a lot of conspiracy that there's actually no gold in Fort Knox.
I've heard the same thing.
I've heard
I've heard the same thing, but obviously I haven't done enough research to look into it. Actually,
You should watch this documentary. It's
well,
pretty
you know that the Federal Reserves actually hold the most gold around the country and the world.
Well, it is pretty much a Federal Reserve. That's what it is.
Right, but the Federal Reserve of New York City holds more gold than Fort Knox. I know that for a fact. I just don't know how much more.
Yeah, because apparently what this was saying is that we just sold off all our gold to other countries in exchange for random shit.
I've heard Cheyenne Mountain might have more gold.
You might wait, like in the earth or like in a
so Cheyenne Mountain is a private security.
Oh, okay. So it's not when you said Cheyenne Mountain, I'm thinking, like digging for gold kind of thing.
No, it's literally, so this company bought a mountain and they turned it into these super, super like high security vaults for like the wealthiest, most secretive people in the world. And there's conspiracies about all kinds of stuff it might hold.
I mean, dude, you know what? There's literally a conspiracy about everything, I feel like, these days.
Yeah, we're going to get into one later.
The coronavirus might be a conspiracy. Fuck.
Yeah.
They're all the Democrats.
Yeah. You never know, right?
Did the Democrats create it?
Speaking of the coronavirus, just this year alone, there have been 3,285 confirmed deaths of the coronavirus. There's over 100,000 cases now across the globe.
And you know how underreported both of those numbers are.
Oh yeah, underreported for sure. That's just what the media is saying, and you can't believe what the media tells you.
Chuck, dude, I can't get over how good you sound, dude.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. What the fuck?
Are you into like some ASMR shit, Jared?
No,
What's going on?
there's an episode of Sustainable Insanity where Chuck Tiz is just speaking and he puts Brett to sleep because his voice is so suave.
Apparently, people say I have voice like I could be on the radio or something like that. I'm like, oh, really cool, thanks. I didn't ever, whatever. But that's anyways. I'm not trying to hype myself up. That's just what people have been telling me.
If you hear my house phone ringing, pardon me. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's cool. Right now, guys, current world population. I just like to do this real quick. We're sitting at 7.768 billion today.
Man, that's much more than our planet needs right now.
You know what's crazy, John? Did you know? Okay, do you know what sorry, listeners, I know I have done this so many times, but do you know what the population of people on the planet was like around 1880 to around 1900, like when the Industrial Revolution kicked off? Do you know where our population sat at? Human population at one time?
I think we were at like 1.5 billion.
Close. I think we were closer to 1 billion, and by the time World War I kicked off, we were about 1.8 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But think about that. That's from the beginning of mankind.
Yeah.
To that year or those years. Now,
we're 5 times
within the next 120 years, we're at almost 8.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, that is such a scary statistic. It's insane. It's an exponential growth to the point where we are going to have some serious problems. Resources, it's going to be crazy.
I mean,
in my opinion, I don't think we'll ever really have to see it in our lives, but our children or our children's children are going to see these effects of this.
Do you think the U.S. could ever become as overpopulated as China?
Yeah.
No, dude, no way. Because China's at like fucking 1.4 billion and we're like at 350 million.
I
They
know,
also have,
We're
they're
so.
also a bigger country.
I think the United States is almost the same size
with
as China.
Alaska, I think we're almost the same size.
Oh, really?
Yeah, straight up.
Like Alaska's
So
gigantic.
Alaska's like basically half the size of the fucking the first 50.
But Alaska has,
the main
low
48,
population.
48 states. Who cares about the population? We're talking about size here. Now we are talking about population. What I'm saying is there's no way we'll exceed China. China's at 1.4 billion.
Alaska
We're
has
at 300.
737,000
We're at 350
people.
mil. But we're at 350 million, Jared. So there's no way that what you asked would ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I'm saying is Alaska's only at 737,000 people. Like,
Yeah, because who the fuck wants to live in that cold ass
It's like going to
shit?
Siberia, literally.
Yeah, exactly. Because Siberia literally is right next door.
you know, Sarah Palin can see Alaska from her backyard.
Actually, it's from her house.
Sarah Palin, fucking Sarah Palin. Oh
That's
man,
one of
I
the
just,
greatest
you know
sound
what?
bites of all time.
Fu-
It's also
fu-
one of the
fu-
greatest pornos ever. There's this porno that she dresses up like Sarah Palin.
Man, fuck
It
Sarah
was like
Palin.
it was Lisa
I'd rather-
Ann or somebody. It was hilarious.
Fuck Sarah Palin. I'd rather go parasailing,
True.
you know, behind a boat.
True.
Anyways, just wanted to bring up, you know, what's going on in the world as far as population and things goes. Let's jump to our first segment, which is, I thought was interesting. Apparently, cops are false warning that meth might contain coronavirus. Hilarious, isn't it?
I love that.
It's a scare
It's
tactic.
yeah, it's like, dude, come on. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it is a scare tactic. That is such bullshit. Look, I'm not saying like I promote meth or anything, but like these fucking cops.
Well, I mean, think
So, okay,
about it, Chuck. Like these people who are doing this meth shit, they're kind of idiots, right?
Well, they're idiots, but they're addicted, dude. They're addicted to it. They have a fucking problem. They cannot stop doing it because they're addicted to it.
Are the
I've never done it.
of meth withdrawal similar to coronavirus?
Fuck if I know. I've never done meth, and I don't have coronavirus. So how could I tell you that
Well,
answer? to
did
that
you
question?
read the actual message?
Well, that's what I was gonna do until Jared interrupted me.
Oh, go for it. Yeah. Fuck Jared.
Hang on, I got it. Warning. If you have recently purchased meth locally, it may be contaminated with the coronavirus. Please take it to the sheriff's office or police department, and they will test it for free. If you're not comfortable going into an office, please contact any officer, and they'll test your meth in the privacy of your home. Please spread the word.
Oh, please. Oh my God. So let me get this straight. It basically asking people to turn themselves in and to get charged with a felony possession of meth.
Yes.
And if you're
Exactly.
that dumb to do that, then get the fuck out. If you're listening to this show and you've done that, get the fuck out of here. I don't want you listening.
Yeah.
to
If you
this
have
show.
called the police to tell them you have drugs, come on.
That is just the dumbest thing. And the fact that these cops are doing it, it's like I can't even put the words to it. It's just like they know that people are dumb and like meth heads are dumb enough to probably do that.
It says that there has been one arrest that resulted from the hoax.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're not so dumb then.
Oh, wait,
I
no,
don't know.
no. This was for Ebola back in 2016. They tried it with Ebola, too.
These motherfucking cops.
Is it the
dude.
same police department?
I don't know.
So they tricked the cops into getting their drugs properly weighed so as not to be scammed by their drug dealers.
Okay, so just to make clear, if you are a meth user, do not think that your meth has coronavirus in it, and do not call the police to have them come test it because they are going to fucking arrest you for possession or distribution in that case, in one shape, way,
Depending
shape,
on how
form.
much size you have.
Right, but just like, you know, meth users, I don't promote it. You should probably
Listen
stop,
to
get
this.
help.
Listen to this, all right? In response to the backlash over the coronavirus post, the Merrill Police Department said on Facebook that it was attempting to take those easy grabs at removing poison from our community. Quote, This is our role, which we unapologetically must fulfill. It is our hope that an arrest would be the positive catalyst someone may need to start recovery, the post said.
I mean, that's good. That's a good thing. I mean, people who are addicted to meth, they need to get off that shit.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to do it, but the thing is, the cops are looking to arrest people.
Exactly. And when you get a felony, you can't get a job. Maybe you won't be addicted to drugs, but it's not going to be easy once you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So don't God, be smart. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, don't listen to the fucking
Step one,
like that.
Don't do
First
meth.
of all, yeah, exactly.
Step
I agree with
two,
that.
if you're going to do meth, don't bring it to the police for them to check it for viruses.
And step three, just don't talk to the cops at all. At all. If they ask you a question, invoke your Fifth Amendment right and say nothing.
Just say, I want a lawyer. That's it.
That's all you got to say.
That's all you got to say.
I want a lawyer, and I'm not saying anything else.
Am I being detained?
And you have the right to say that.
Well, first question,
you might get arrested.
Detained?
Yeah, I mean, do you guys follow those guys on Instagram, the Pop Brothers at Law?
No.
Oh, dude, they're awesome. So they have the script. They're fucking great. They're like these two brothers. They're lawyers in California, and they're on Instagram at the _ Pot Brothers at Law. You got to look them up. Anyways, they have a script, and every Friday it's called Shut the Fuck Up Friday. And basically the script is 1, why are you pulling me over? 2, am I being detained or am I free to go? 3, I'm not discussing my day. 4, I'm invoking my, or sorry, if I am being detained or arrested, I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right. And then the last thing is you shut the fuck up and don't say anything else because it's going to harm you in court.
But remain cordial the entire time.
Don't be disrespectful. Be respectful when you say
No, they even say that. They even say be respectful, but that's the script.
Yeah.
I'm not discussing my day. Like, why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I arrested? If I'm being detained or arrested, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right, and you shut the fuck up and you don't say anything.
Man, I have a crazy cop story from Mardi Gras this year.
Wait, are you talking about the one that we wanted to talk about earlier?
No, John doesn't know about this. I haven't told you. I was talking to Ruben about it actually a couple nights ago. I was at the Boot, which is a bar on Tulane's campus, and walked out at 3 a.m. with one of my friends from New Orleans named Charlie. And there are these two kids who are pretty drunk. One of them has 1,000 beads around his neck, and his buddy is just roughhousing with him, ripping his beads off. And the police have a presence at the Boot 24/7 during Mardi Gras. This kid, they're roughhousing, ripping the beads off him. It's it almost looks like they're really fighting. And to an outsider's eye, it could look like this guy was trying to get fuck with this kid, and they weren't friends, but they really were. So then this kid pushes them, and the cops immediately jump on him and split him up and tackle them, right? And this kid who's drunk like an idiot swings on the cop and hits him in the face.
Wait. Okay, so this is the story that I was talking about.
Oh.
This is the story that Ruben told you?
No, that I told Ruben.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead then.
And then cops, this guy punches the cop in the face. The cops tackle him, are about to put him in cuffs, and he's resisting. This kid's drunk. He probably is confused why he's getting fucking tackled by a cop, because he was just roughhousing with his friend, kids our age do, especially when they're drunk. But it's a stupid move during Mardi Gras when police are literally 5 feet away. And anyways, he talks. He's begging the cop, don't arrest me, all this stuff. Cop walks away. And then the third buddy, just walks up to this cop and just socks him in the face from behind. 2 cops tackle this guy, and they tackle all of them because a brawl goes down with all these guys and the cops. And basically, 2 guys get nothing done to them. And the guy who had the beads around his neck, the poor guy who his buddy was ripping the beads off of, is the one who ends up getting put in cuffs. And it was fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have a ton of crazy stories about Mardi Gras in New Orleans I could go over, but
Can we talk about the one about the bathroom cup?
Well, it wasn't a bathroom cop. I wasn't there for this.
Oh.
Okay, but I know the story, and I can tell you what happened. Um, I want to make it quick because we got a lot of stuff I want to go over. But basically, my buddy Joe, rest in peace. He's no longer with us anymore. He passed away a couple years ago, but this was back in like 08. So I wasn't with him, but I know the story. My buddy Joe was with a group of friends. Ruben was there, Jared, and I think Two Woke was there too. And like Joseph tries to go like use a restroom at some bar on Bourbon, but the bouncer wouldn't let him in
because he didn't buy anything.
Or something like that. I don't know exactly, but regardless, like Joe's is the kind of person who's like, or was the kind of person who's like, man, fuck, like fuck that dude. Like I'm gonna fuck this dude up. And everybody like was like, no, dude, just leave it be. And he decided not to. And he walks up and just one hit knockout knocks this bouncer out. And the cops see it and immediately like go after him, and he runs, and they end up catching him anyway. And then he goes to, they put him in one of those those cars where they like
the vans.
gather people, and they end up taking him to jail and shit. But like, yeah, I mean, he one straight one hitter quitter, like knocked this bouncer out.
The funniest part to me is Ruben said that like they were legal at the time, and they were they were just drinking.
Yeah, we were 22, 21.
Yeah. So he literally he's sitting in the they go to bail him out, right? And he's sitting in the bail room or whatever where he goes to bail this guy out, and they're just sitting in there with handles of vodka in their hand, just drinking in jail. Like he was like, it doesn't get much more New Orleans than that, right? And pretty much
start
shooting the shit with this lady who was at the counter, who was giving them an attitude, and they were joking around with her. And man, if he was like, it's so crooked. Like if they like you, they'll let them out like that. If they don't like you, they're gonna hold them. And the lady ended up liking the people or Joe's friends, right? Is his name Joe?
Joseph. Well, Joseph's the kind of person who will sweet talk someone like that, though. Like, because he was always like I'm not gonna say he's the smartest person in the world because the decisions he made, which ended up to his death, but he was always the type of person that was able to like think quickly and like get out of a situation, and he would like figure out a way to do that, and that is exactly what he did. He became like friends or nice to the lady or whatever you were talking about that actually helped him get out very quickly, then staying there for a long
something
time.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean it's a crazy story, but anyways, I'm done with that conversation, honestly. Y'all want to move on to the next segment real quick?
Let's do that.
Let's run it.
So this one, I was reading this earlier. The title of the article is "I sell Xanax to students and demand is too high to keep up. I've had to tell a bunch of them I'm no longer in business." That's crazy. Okay, because let me tell you something. When I was younger, and even not too, even in my upper or mid young 20s, I was taking a shitload. I was taking Xanax on a regular basis in high school and everything. They were so cheap, back then. And apparently, and I can just tell you from my own experience, I know what's going on in the street market here in Houston. In high school, I used to be able to buy 5 Xanax pills for $10. $2
during Marty. Now it's $40.
Now it's $10 a pill for the real pharmaceutical ones because there's a bunch of fake ones out there.
Yeah.
They're they're crushing up regular Xanax and then mixing up with other chemicals or whatever, and then repressing.
Yeah, one
them.
of my buddies from Tulane last year lived in my dorm. Is a real good friend of mine. Unfortunately, he started taking a lot of Xanax. I mean, and he was pretty much addicted and went AWOL. And
I mean, it's a very addicting drug. I've been there.
He went
I've done
AWOL and pretty much got kicked out. Well, not really kicked out, but his parents came and picked him up and took him straight to
It's
rehab.
called the I don't give it. I call it the I don't give a fuck drug because when you take it, you don't give a fuck about anything. You don't give a fuck. And some people turn into kleptos. They steal shit. I wasn't one of those, but I know people who would take it and all of a sudden they're just like at a party, just like stealing shit, putting shit in like house parties, like putting shit in their pockets. I saw that from multiple people.
Yeah, he was actually kind of that way.
I never did that. But like it does that to some people. And it's that type of drug. It's alcohol in pill form, basically, without the hangover.
Yeah.
But you black out if you drink on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you drink on it, you're blacking out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it by itself or if you take enough of it, you can still black out. But if you take it by itself like you're supposed to, and I can say it, I've taken it plenty of times in my life. I mean, it takes the edge off, you know? It takes the edge off. But when you drink on that shit, you're gonna black out. And,
you're gonna wake up naked in your bed.
car. You're gonna end up driving your car into a ditch or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Because like you just don't when you're on it, you don't realize that you've taken enough and you just want more. So you take more and then you don't realize it till like the next day when you wake up, wherever you wake up. And sometimes that's led me to wake up in my car with it on, parked in a random parking lot or in a ditch or just whatever, or in jail. I mean, God, I'm my own worst enemy. I have definitely gotten more trouble from drinking and taking Xanax over the past, 20 years in my life. It's horrible. I mean, it's good for people who actually have anxiety. I don't, but I abuse the shit out of it. I don't do it anymore, but I did take my fair share. And I made some huge mistakes that got me into a lot of trouble. A lot. Anyways, all I was getting at was the story is basically, I don't want to go deep into it because it's a headliner. Basically, there's such a demand for it. It's all due to the rap game.
Yeah.
And them talking
Listen
about
to
it.
this.
And so it's because...
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm reading this article.
No, you're good.
I'm reading this article, and I'm kind of going down. She's talking about how busy she is, her profit margins.
Sorry to cut you off. This article is from they're in the UK. This is in the United Kingdom. In England.
So the profit margins are actually pretty fucking crazy. But the point I was trying to make is there's this one question the interviewer asked the drug dealer. It says, "What do you spend the profits on?" Quote, "I use it to buy cigarettes and other drugs like weed or coke. It's not like I go without. It's all in cash as well, so I don't notice it. My drug selling income isn't absolutely necessary because I also have a normal job. It's just supplementary revenue that makes my life easier." But like, I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty standard for most casual drug dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I'm not gonna lie. I used to sell weed, back in the day. Like when I was in college and shit, I was pretty, I used to sell that herbal back in California. I mean, I made some decent money off it, but didn't make a living off it or anything. It wasn't like that. But I mean, yeah, the money I made off it, I just blew it. I didn't save it. I just was like, oh man, I'm 21 years old or 20 years old, and I'm balling. I'm in college, and I was that guy who got to go to all the frat parties. I never joined a frat. I was just the guy who, sold weed to the frat boys. So I got to go to all their parties. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, shit, Chuck's here, bro. What up, son? You got that herb? I'm like, oh, I got that shit, bro. And I have like 10 joints rolled up ready to go. You know? Yeah. So I get into every party, and I never did the frat thing. It just wasn't my style. I'm a surfer. I was just like, fuck it. But I still got to go participate. It worked out. Um, anyways, I got a bunch of topics I want to talk about. I'm kind of skimming through some ones that I really want to talk about.
Did you see the one about the coronavirus songs? Those are pretty funny, dude. Did you listen to any of them?
Well, I did. I haven't had a chance to really look at it yet. We'll get to that in a second, though. Hold on a second. So one thing I want to say, and what I just learned today, is Bloomberg dropped out of the Democratic
after spending
and so did Buttigieg. So did Buttigieg.
He spent $700 million on his campaign. I would see a freaking Bloomberg ad on every YouTube video I'd watch, no matter what the video is. I don't know what it is. I
honestly thought it was going to be Bloomberg and Bernie at the last run, and the only reason I say that is Bloomberg is is like a Democratic version businessman like Trump. I thought he had a shot.
I just don't think he's political enough.
He went too extreme.
Well, neither is fucking Trump.
Yeah, but Trump carries a different energy than Bloomberg does.
No, you're right. He does. I thought Bloomberg had I didn't see him dropping out. So now, basically, in my opinion, it's going to be Bernie and fucking and Biden.
I think Biden wins. He's got the best shot against Trump, and that's not much.
I mean, I think.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to beat Trump. I think Trump's going to stay in office. But as far as the Democratic Party goes, I think it's going to be Bernie and Biden.
For sure. Who do you think will get the bid?
I think Bernie. I
think Bernie will actually get it. Honestly, in my opinion, but the only problem with Bernie is he's getting old.
Did you see Trump got 1 million more voters in California at the primary than who won the Democratic primary?
No, I did not.
Like 2.5 million showed out for Trump versus 1.5 million who showed out for their leading candidate.
Yeah, man, all these California people are tired of these fucking Democrat local governments, and senators and people who govern the state of their shitty policies that are ruining them.
I saw some articles saying that California is a possible red state in the next 4 years.
Well, I mean, look, I've lived in California I lived there for 8 years. It is, in my opinion, a red state already. It's the problem is it's like,
your
LA,
population centers,
San Francisco. Yeah, exactly. But it is. You're right. It is transitioning towards more of a right wing state. I just don't know how long that's going to take to actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that what you just said makes it sound like it might happen sooner than later.
Yeah. At least it could be a battleground. It's hard to tell this early, but it may end up being a battleground.
California to be a battleground state would be insane.
That would be crazy. Could you imagine the spending on both parties?
It would be insane.
And I feel like, honestly, it's easier to take over than it is to keep it,
Yeah, I mean, shit, dude. Look, the Terminator was the governor of that state when I was living there. I mean, goddamn, it was crazy. It was so funny, but yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I just have a feeling no matter what's gonna happen, is Trump's probably still gonna stay in office.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's much of a doubt at this point, and just seeing how it's gone so far.
I mean, you never know, but honestly, he got acquitted. He had a great speech at the State of the Union, which went on for over an hour. Fucking Nancy Pelosi's ass ripping that speech up, and then fucking also
that Democrats' response too. It was awful.
Yeah, and the one thing that I didn't understand, John, was it's like, when they get up and clap, you could see who obviously were the Trump supporters and who weren't the Trump supporters. It's like, they get up and clap and they sit down, and in 2 seconds they get up and clap. It's like, just stay standing and clapping. Why do you got to keep getting up and getting down? Getting up and getting down. I get that, but it's like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just stand and clap, man. Don't keep getting up and down. That was my thing on that. That's all.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. And the fact that Trump snubbed Nancy Pelosi at the very beginning when she went to extend her hand for a handshake, he just straight up turned her around.
Honestly, I don't think he saw it. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
I know. So I agree with that because at first I was like, "Ooh, that was ruthless," and then I think he just didn't see it.
Because if you look at it, she extended her hand very late. I don't think
no,
he thought
you're
that
right.
she was gonna extend it at all.
You're right. I just still think it's funny.
Oh yeah.
I just still think it's funny, and she probably was like pissed about it, and that's probably half the reason why she fucking ripped up the speech at the end. What a dumb bitch to do something like that.
I mean, it's so disrespectful. Like, it's the commander in chief.
The whole world is watching. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
it signals a weak America, and that's not something that we need to ever portray.
No, it's just ultra disrespectful, and it's like he gave such an amazing speech too. So it's like
he did the best speech Trump has ever given, in my opinion, and he's a bad speaker. He's worse than Bush.
The thing that triggered a lot of people is whether you're Democrat or Republican. He mentioned a lot of people, a lot of American citizens, and he commended American citizens' efforts during that speech, and she basically was ripping up all of everything that those American people had done, essentially, if you look at it from that standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the Democratic Party not standing to celebrate the people that he was recognizing, that was
I wouldn't
terrible.
call it the Democratic Party. I'd call it the non-Trump supporters.
Yes.
No, but it was majority.
Because there are Republicans that don't support Trump.
Hey, no, I'm talking about the people he recognized, though. Because I think pretty much everyone on the right side of the aisle was still celebrated the people he recognized during the speech.
Well, I mean, they stood there were some people that didn't stand up for some things, and there were some people that stood up for some, and like the war veteran, the 100-year-old war veteran, and then the Rush Limbaugh, having cancer, getting the Purple Medal of Honor or whatever the hell you call that
Medal
thing,
of Freedom,
or whatever that is. Yeah, that was the first time I actually ever watched an entire State of the Union.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, I'll watch some of that stuff. It just gets boring after a while. But that was the first time I ever watched
It was captivating. Thing. It was like America's highlight reel.
It was. I mean, dude, I got to give it to Trump. He's a bad speaker, in my opinion, but he did a fantastic job. Best speech he's ever given, I think, in his life.
Hey, have you seen the clip? Have you seen the clip of Trump talking about Bloomberg, and he drops down below the mic to imitate like how Mike's so small?
Yeah,
I mean, I saw dude, these political ads are they're just attacking each other. It's all bullshit.
I thought that was hilarious.
I mean, regardless what side you're on, and I'm impartial when it comes to politics, guys. I believe in the law of Tizonomics, and I have my own way of thinking. So I don't take sides. Trump, great. I think I agree with a lot of things that he's been doing, and then I disagree with some of the stuff he's done. But all I'm trying to get is I'm very impartial when it comes to siding on a political side. If Ross Perot was still alive, I would vote for him.
Yeah. Okay.
Straight the fuck up. R.I.P. Ross Perot. So let's see real quick here. And this is kind of funny. The Italian government is angered by a comedy sketch about coronavirus infected pizza. Italy currently has the third highest number of cases of the disease, and it's the first country outside of China to record a triple-digit death.
Well, so back where I live in North Fulton, in outside Atlanta, we actually had a father and son come back from Italy, asymptomatic, and they got back. They had coronavirus right where I live.
Oh, whoa, wow! So you actually know someone?
I don't know them personally, but I mean, my friends' families know them.
But I mean, okay. So, but you know, you're close to someone who knows someone.
Yeah,
that has it. That's crazy.
It's just like, I mean, you got to think for it to get into like a wealthy suburb outside of Atlanta. Like, That's crazy.
I mean, there's cases in San Antonio here in Texas.
Oh, there's a case in Houston that's gonna debut on Friday. I can't say any details because
No, I know. I already heard about this. We don't have to get into it. I know that though. And you're right. It's true. Look, this is a pandemic, guys. This is they don't have a vaccine for it yet. It's a flu. People die from the flu every year. Flus are very contagious. This specific strand of flu,
well, it's more like MERS, it's more like MERS.
But it's a flu. But it is flu. It is a flu.
Okay.
It is a flu. That's a fact. I know that. And the thing is this specific type of flu, it's got a code name to it that I don't know.
COVID-19.
Yeah, it's whatever it is. It's the coronavirus. But the thing is with this specific strand of flu was derived supposedly from it came from animals in China. And you know how China people eat like dogs and shit. Supposedly that's where this started. And then it went crazy. And so it's to the point where if you have it, and like say you cough in your hand and you touch a doorknob and someone comes behind you and touches that doorknob,
they get it.
They're most likely to get it.
I mean, this is one of the highest.
And that doesn't work. That doesn't work mostly with most flus. And so it's super contagious, and they don't have a vaccine for it.
Well, and also, you know, if you stand 6 feet away from somebody for 3 minutes, you can easily catch it because of the air circulating around you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's almost the same thing. Yeah, it's just highly contagious.
So like if you're on a bus in New York City, and the other thing about why this virus is so effective is because it has a 14-day incubation period where you won't show symptoms.
It's actually longer than that now. Seen much longer than that.
Yeah, so the virus is getting even more effective because the longer the incubation...
That means we could have it and not even know it.
We could, and we could be spreading it right now. You know what I mean?
Fuck, that is some scary.
Apparently, people on the cruise ship that were asymptomatic when they left the cruise ship after they left quarantine.
I know what you're talking about. I know, John. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, for sure. They were quarantined on a ship for 14 days, and they were quarantined for another 14 when they got off. Can you imagine that?
And then apparently some of them still ended up having it.
Yeah, the entire ship.
That's crazy.
I mean, they were going from port to port trying to find
Gilligan's Island.
Nobody. Well, are you referring to the episode from me and Two Oaks?
No, I'm referring to Gilligan's Island.
I know, but did you not listen to that episode where Two Oaks sang the Gilligan? No. So Two Oak, my buddy Tony T. Okay. We did a collab podcast.
Oh, I remember this where Tony made the song.
So Two Oak made a song. It was the Gilligan's Island theme song, but it was all about he used the theme song, but he was talking about the ship that had the
Corona.
You know, the people. Yeah, exactly. John, you got to listen to my pod. It's like 3 or 4 episodes back. It's called. The title of it's called India, where the booze flows like wine.
Not your pod. Sustainable Insanity.
No, it's on my pod. No, it's on my pod too. It was a collab pod.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So, anyways, my buddy Two Oak. Well, you can go back. It's there. It ain't going anywhere. So, anyways, it was funny because he did the Gilligan's Island theme song and used the factual news of what was going on with this ship.
Yeah.
And it was I was dying laughing. As he was there, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, did you just twist the Gilligan's theme song and fucking put real factual news into it? Did you make that up? And he was like, yeah, I made it up. I'm like, oh my God, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard, man. That was fucking classic.
That's hilarious.
Dude, you gotta listen to it. You gotta go check it out. We want to give a quick shout out to our good friends over at Anchor for helping us provide us with the platform to do this podcast. So sit back, relax, and listen to this quick advertisement that we got to shout out to Anchor. All right, thank you, Anchor, for everything you've done. And so I know we have a lot of topics, guys, but one thing now knowing that that John was an ex-baseball player, I want to know your thoughts on the Astros scandal.
Man, I think that was just wrong.
Okay, but
Yeah.
So first of all, when they apologized, it's an admission of guilt. Right?
I mean, you have to admit at that point. Everyone in the world knows. There's pictures of it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not saying that. Okay. So, but you can't say that all of them are guilty.
No, you can't say that all of them are guilty.
It's all conspiracy, in my opinion.
I think something was going on.
Complacent, if not participating.
Look,
I think Altuve was the one who honestly is getting the most heat, and I think he honestly really didn't have much to do with it at all.
Didn't he have the buzzer
you hear this?
on?
You hear this?
No, they said that, and then what?
You hear that sound? You know what that sound is? It's the sound of me beating my World Series ring that I have and putting it on my finger against the table. And all I have to say to all you people, especially you Yankee fucks that have a problem with it, 2 words, and Chuck says it a lot. 2 words, and Chuck, you can say it.
Yeah. We got 2 words for you. Suck it, okay? But I gotta say this. And John, you can agree with me. A lot of people want them to strip them of the 2017 World Series title or championship. The only reason why I think they're not doing that is because their away game hitting and home run averages were higher than their home.
I'm gonna be honest.
And how the fuck are they gonna throw a camera in someone else's stadium and do what they were doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with it was I don't care about if they're stealing signs manually and doing it. But when you start using technology, that's where I draw the line.
Right. Well, that's at home. Right. And if they did that at home, it's wrong. Okay. I get that. But the fact that these are good baseball players. I mean, it's really hard to hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, and slam it. I mean, that is not, and I'm not a big, I played baseball when I was real young, but what I'm getting at is the only reason why they're not getting stripped of the championship is because of their their away hitting and home run average, which they wouldn't have that opportunity to cheat with the camera.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the only reason that they're not doing it is because the MLB just doesn't want to touch it anymore. I think this is one of those things that they just want to move away from as fast as possible.
And I agree with you. And you know why? Because it's like the steroid scandal all over again. Once they start looking at one team, oh my God, you think the Astros are the only ones that were doing this shit?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to. No, I'm agreeing with you.
It's opening up a can of worms. It's opening up Pandora's box, basically, like the steroid. Yeah, they're gonna look into the Astros, and then all of a sudden, like it's gonna expose so many other teams cheating.
The problem is they got caught,
Yeah, it is. It's a fucked up situation, but you can't deny that they're not good baseball players.
They were a great team, but I mean, the pitching that they were coming against, you can't. I mean, that's basically like throwing a pitching machine up there at that point. I'm gonna be honest.
But what about the away games though?
I don't know if they were able to monitor it from a box or something.
They could. It would be that they would have to like filtrate that stadium system. Like, you know what I mean? That would be very hard to do if they. I don't think they did it.
You don't think they had a live camera feed?
Well, I mean, I know that in the away games you don't hear trash can bangings.
All right. In that case, I wasn't fully appraised of the away game situation.
Yeah, no, I looked at it. Trust me, I looked this shit up. I was like, "What the fuck,"
Mm-hmm. This was one thing where, I know about it. I know a decent bit about it, but it was something I just didn't even want to look at. It was so wrong to me.
I mean, it's fucked up, but I can tell you the Astros aren't the only ones. If they were doing it, they weren't the only team doing it.
I think they may have been the only one doing it to that extent, though.
To that extent, maybe, but like there's cheating going on regardless.
But yeah, I mean,
across the
everyone
board.
cheats. It's just once you start using technology to cheat, you cross a line.
You're right. I agree with that. But the fact that, and I'll end it at this: the fact that they're away, hitting and home run averages were higher than their home was the only reason I think that saved them from getting that title stripped from them.
I mean, honestly, I think they still might lose it.
I don't know. I don't. I was reading. I watched something on the ESPN the other day. The MLB commissioner's not going to do it.
I mean, Manfred's part of the problem with the league to start with. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's a given. That's a given. That's like having fucking Bill O'Brien running the fucking NFL.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's like keeping the replacement refs.
Exactly. Couldn't said it better. I just wanted your opinion on it. That's all. It's a fucked up situation, but I think they're going to keep the title. And going forward, obviously, it hasn't been proven that they've done it since that season.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. We don't know. Obviously they've apologized, which is in my opinion, a mission of guilt, but it still isn't totally, it's still not totally figured out. And
what do you think about Hall of Fame for these people?
Well, now that might become an issue.
I don't think any of them will get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, they're going to have to look at it closely because I think Altuve, and from what I've heard, wanted no part of whatever was going on. And I think Altuve deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But Springer and those guys that were obviously, it looked like that, but I think Altuve, and I'm just using one example, one player. I think he could possibly surpass that and get into the Hall of Fame.
And the story of Altuve. I mean, Altuve freaking didn't get drafted or anything. Came to try out for the team.
Hey guys, listen, real quick. Y'all keep talking real quick. I have to go. Someone's ringing my doorbell, so I'm gonna walk away for a second. Y'all just talk for a second. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Altuve. I don't know if you know this, John, but Altuve. Do you know the story of Altuve? How he got onto the Astros?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, for all the listeners who don't know, he came to a tryout for essentially the equivalent of a walk-on spot to the Astros, and was told he was too short, and was persistent and came back, and finally someone took a gamble on him, and he worked his way up, and look what he's become. I mean, he's an all-star. He's one of the best second basemen in the league, has one of the most insane bats in the league, has a swing that's studied by so many people because it's just insane, the physics behind how he puts the ball where he does and his mentality at the plate. He's become such a inspiration to people, saying, there is no such thing as having to be this tall to play this sport. And that story alone, I think, is something that the Hall of Fame needs to have. And also the fact that he didn't really want any part of the cheating scandal, alleged cheating scandal. I think that the story and everything about Altuve and what he's accomplished, I think that he'll end up in the Hall of Fame.
No, I think it comes out like the PED era.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I was Jared. You know who it was? It was a little fucking Arion.
Arion, at what time is it? 10:06 p.m.
Yep. I said, dude, it's too late. I'm going to bed. Get out of here. And Jared, fill him in on who Arion is.
Arion's this little kid who...
The black kid in my
neighborhood. That wants to watch cars or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, that guy. He's like, hey, man, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, Arion.
He loves trucks, and he loves Taylor's truck, and he'll just climb up in Taylor's truck and hang out with us. and he's a funny little kid.
He's a
We'll
good
joke
kid.
around with him.
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid. Look, he could be doing a lot worse shit with his life at that age, and I'm glad that what he does is what he does. You know.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the fact is he's grown up in this neighborhood where I live in. That's getting gentrified and like transitioning to more townhouses. Just like shithole house, good, brand new townhouse. This kid's 7 years old, so he grew up. This neighborhood used to have like a fucking horse ranch across the street where I'm at. Now there's townhouses. So this kid, he's riding around on his bike when he gets off school. He sees me pulled up. He immediately like jumps in my bed in my truck, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna sit there and chill with him because, I feel like it's a duty to me to be a good person and talk to this kid and tell him to what's right and what's wrong because if I don't, he's gonna end up being one of them thugs, dude, in the future.
If you can be a positive role model in a little kid's life like that, you have to,
Yeah, and I mean, and he's a good kid. He means no harm. He just doesn't understand like manners. Like you don't ring someone's doorbell at 10 o'clock at night. He doesn't get that. But he's 7 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think a lot of kids, no matter where they come from, recognize that really.
But I mean, he grew up. He's a poor kid, man. I mean, his family.
he's a
didn't have a lot of
7-year-old
money.
who's out at 10 at night knocking on houses.
Well, he's knocking on my house because he knows me, and I'm like, dude, it's late. Like, go home. Don't come back till tomorrow afternoon, and I'll let you wash my car if you want to. Really? He goes, really? I'm like, yes. Now go home. Bye.
That's cute.
Yeah, no, he's a good kid. I don't know what y'all were talking about while I was answering that.
I was just talking about Altuve, and then John, you were saying something about
I was comparing
PEDs.
it to the steroid scandal and how those guys won't be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Even
it's
if
the same
even
thing.
if
It's the same
not
thing.
confirmed.
That's why I brought that up because what happened was they focused on one person or one group of people, the steroids, and it opened up Pandora's box, and they realized everybody was using them.
I think honestly, it could be more like a Pete Rose situation, though.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean when I say what I'm saying. It's like it's like, okay, you want to investigate the Astros. Well, that's going to open up the box, and you're going to find out that it's not just the Astros that are doing this shit.
I mean, we've known that cheating is part of baseball.
Cheating is part of every sport.
Culture.
It's part of every sport.
But this is the only one where everyone knows it. That's
the reason why everyone knows it is because the claims are that they were cheating on the season that they won the World Series.
Yeah,
and that pissed a lot of people off. Had they not won the World Series, this might not have been such a big deal.
It would definitely wouldn't have been as major as it would have been.
No, absolutely
as
not.
It was.
Exactly.
I mean, when you win a World Series and get caught for using technology to steal signs.
No, it's not. Look, it's not good. I agree. This whole thing is not good. It's bad. And you heard about in spring training, like how many pitchers were throwing balls at the Astros players?
Yeah.
Like that, there's no way that's a coincidence that was an accident. They were doing that deliberately.
No, that's one of the unspoken rules of baseball. You call somebody out for being bush league.
And which is, fine. But, Altuve, I mean, I get it. They're mad at everybody, but I don't feel like he deserved that.
I think he's a big enough presence in the locker room that he could have shut it down.
I don't think he had the power to shut it down.
I think he had
the power. No, I think he had the power to say, I don't want anything to do with this. But I don't think he had the power to stop it.
I think he had the power to get traded, though, and get away from it if he really wanted to.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't think he wanted to leave the team because it was like,
it was steamrolling because they were cheating.
Exactly. Well, you could say that, and yes, I agree with that. But also, you got to think about the away games too, though. Look, I mean, these guys are
what
good
was the
baseball
away win
players.
percentage versus the home win percentage?
I don't know. I could look it up. I really don't feel like diving too much deeper
No,
into
it's
it.
good. Yeah, no, it's fine.
I want to move into another topic, but I just wanted your opinion, being an ex-baseball player, and what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah.
Because obviously here in Houston, we're getting a lot of heat about it.
Yeah, I know. I brought it up to some big Houston chefs.
Yeah, I mean,
when
it's
they were
great.
in town. Because one of your guys won a James Beard this year.
Yeah, Chris Shepard.
Yeah, I was talking to him back in January.
Chris Shepard's the man, dude. By the way,
super cool. He's a good guy.
No, I know him personally.
Yeah, I met him at he was doing a charity gala down here in January. It was actually when I was on FaceTime with Jared and you saw me in the tux.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, I met him that night when he was at.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, Chris Shepard's a cool guy. He's actually like one of the most influential restaurateurs or whatever.
Mhm.
Wait, what restaurants does he own?
He owns what's it called? The one on Montrose. Hold on, give me a second. Georgia James Steakhouse. He owns the Hay Merchant. He owns dude, he owns a ton of restaurants. I can't even keep up with it anymore.
Yeah, because he's good friends with Donald Lynch.
Chris Shepard. Houston, just look it up. But so another interesting article, next segment. 900 bottles of booze finally recovered from 1917 shipwreck. The Kairos and its high-dollar cargo, including 600 bottles of cognac and 300 bottles of Benedictine liqueur, was discovered in 1999.
But the crazy thing was it was undiscovered and then refound.
Exactly, and they got it, and so if you're a century-old Russian aristocrat of the restless ghost of Tsar Nicholas II, then this is probably some long overdue good news. Your booze is finally here.
And it's probably being absolutely plundered.
Last month, a team of divers, salvage experts, and straight-up treasure hunters spent a week trying to finally collect 900 bottles of liquor that have spent more than 100 years stuck in a Swedish shipwreck at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. This is insane. This all started in December of 1916 when the SS Kairos was supposed to start its journey from France to St. Petersburg, Russia. It was soon determined that the ice in the Bohemian Sea between Finland and Sweden was too thick for the ship to sail through. So the delivery was postponed until May 1917. Shortly, have y'all seen the movie 1917, by the way?
I have not seen it.
Amazing movie. Watch it. It is sick. Great movie.
Pull it up on my TV after this.
Yeah. But okay, off tangent. But anyway, I'm going to. Shortly after the Kairos started towards Russia, it was stopped by a German U-boat known as the UC-58. The crew ordered everyone off the Kairos, and after the Germans inspected the ship, they decided, yeah, it's probably best we sink this motherfucker. So the Kairos and the high-dollar cargo, and that included the 600 bottles of De Hartmann & Co. cognac and 300 bottles of Benedictine liqueur, whatever, swayed helplessly 250 feet underwater until it was finally discovered in 1999. But then the ship was somehow lost again. What the fuck? For 14 years. I don't understand how that happened before being rediscovered in 2014.
So what happened with? Sorry, I want to interrupt you. But what probably happened with that was, so that would be one of the big. It's one of the most difficult excavations that's been done to date of a ship off the bottom. Because it's that deep and it's that murky of water.
Well, 250 feet is not that deep. But with murky water,
full excavation and murky water, it's tricky.
Right, but with sonar, I mean, it's not that difficult. But yes,
back in the 90s.
No. But in the 90s they found it, and then they lost it again. They found it in 2014.
Right. They probably just didn't even think about it anymore because it was when they found it, it was just not,
It wasn't a priority. They didn't give a shit.
it wasn't something that would have been worth doing.
Right. But
But
I
with-
just thought that
yeah.
thought that was funny. I'm like, whoa, man, these 900 bottles. I mean, these are 20-year-old bottles of booze, man. This shit's got to be worth a lot of money, and it probably tastes really fucking good.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where, I mean, people find shipwrecks often and they just move on because they don't think anything. They just don't think much of it at the time. You know?
No, I'm on the same page with you,
Yeah.
John. I get that shit. I know. I understand all that. I get it. I just thought it was a funny thing to talk about. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
I like how they wrote the article was very well placed for that specific idea. Just the idea of finding it and losing it.
finding it, losing it, finding it again, and then extracting the booze.
That's the important thing. I wish they had told us.
And I don't think it's for sale, man. And if it is, it's probably gonna cost a lot of money to get it.
I'd be curious to see how much of it is still usable.
I mean, we can look that up. I'm not gonna do it right
No.
now, but we can look that up later. Another note. Even Beto O'Rourke's old bandmate is pissed he endorsed Biden. The Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler Zavlar wrote on Instagram, the one-time Texas congressman is denounced in the
Comatorium.
Comatorium. God, so I see something and I'm smart and I know how to like say it, but like when I don't, is it a word that I'm not familiar with?
No, foreign words just look like words that are foreign to us just don't always register, right?
I mean, look, the fact that first of all, Beto thought he even had a chance at becoming president. No, never. Okay, and now that he's endorsing Biden, you know, dude, Beto is such a fucking idiot, dude. That guy, I couldn't even believe that he was even trying to run for president. He didn't even have a close shot.
None.
Not even close. And there's no way he would have ever made it, ever. Nobody's going to vote for nobody's voting for Beto. Nobody.
And do you see Biden promised to put Beto in charge of gun control?
Well, that's why I went and got my Big Dick Bezos, man.
Dude, you have to.
Straight up, son. Straight up. On a note with that, what I want to talk to you about is, so I know we talked about this on the phone a little bit earlier. What do you think about the 2017 Vegas shooting, the biggest Vegas mass shoot? We didn't talk about this on the pod. This was on the phone earlier, right? Yeah. So I want your opinion, John, and Jared, you can chime in. The fucked up thing to me is this is the biggest mass shooting in American history. You have 58 people killed and 413 injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it, like, for the first month, everybody was talking about it, and then all of a sudden it went quiet. And then you never heard another word about it. And I get it. It wasn't kids, it wasn't a church, but it was the biggest mass shooting. How does that just like not be talked about? And you know how every year, like, you know, CNN or all these news companies do like a recap of like what happened that year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they mentioned every other thing and everything and every other shooting that year, but they did not do it that year. They did not mention the Vegas shooting. I haven't heard anything about it actually.
So
recently.
Let me dive into that a little bit. So to me,
Please do.
The thing with that is when these mass shooting happens, the media tries to spin it as an evil gun control topic. But to do that, you need a face. And the people who they targeted, it was a country music festival, though.
Well, and yes, I agree. But they also used, look, I don't think Stephen Paddock, the guy they claimed that did it, had any clue what was about to happen. I think that dude walked. First of all, casinos have the most I mean, beyond, I guess, the Pentagon or any government facility, have the most insane security systems.
Except for high rollers.
I mean, how are you gonna walk in to a fucking casino with rifles and pistols and all this shit and not get flagged?
I mean, I think the biggest thing was he was a high roller who was known at the casino.
It doesn't matter. You walk into a casino with those guns. I mean, that's a red flag right there, personally. Not to say they could see it. They were probably concealed and whatever, but casinos aren't stupid. These camera systems can obviously see it. So the fact that he was able to walk through Mandalay Bay, get into his room with those guns, okay, and then open fire on a fucking crowd of I don't know how many people and killing 58 and wounding 413. There was over 1,100 rounds of ammunition fired from bump stocks. Not automatic weapons, but bump stocks. And this is my personal opinion, and you guys can tell me your personal opinion. I think Stephen Paddock had orders or was told to do something and goes up to this room and literally was murdered on site. And whoever murdered him on site took his guns and opened fired on that crowd. And I think it had something to do with an anti-NRA group to ban bump stocks. And they used Stephen Paddock because of his history, a 64-year-old man from Mesquite, Nevada, who was like a war veteran, you know. And I think this is my personal opinion, and I could be wrong. And I might be. I probably am. But this is just the way I look at it. I think that he was set up. He was killed when he got those guns in the room. And then whoever killed him took over and started unloading fire. Because by the time the security, I mean, the shooting went on for fucking like 10 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
10 minutes. And it took the cops forever to get up there. And when they got up there, they found a dead Stephen Paddock and they found the rifles and stuff. But something just didn't add up. It just didn't add up. And the fact that the media doesn't talk about it really makes me think that something's up. They either hiding something, they don't want to talk about it because I don't know. What are your thoughts, John?
I mean, so honestly, I don't know if it's a conspiracy or anything like that. So I'm not really going to try to delve into that specific, but I'm going to.
Well, it just doesn't add up the fact that they don't. Why are they talking about it?
No.
Why have they just stopped talking about it?
That is what I wanted to talk about. So I think with that is it came down to so I think they tried to make it the very skewed news networks tried to make it fit the narrative that they wanted to make it fit. It didn't successfully do that. So they moved on. Any other major shooting that is used has tons of major outspoken activists that are out there trying to push an agenda against guns, and that's what people want. That's what they want to talk about.
Right, but you got to remember, this is the largest mass shooting in American history.
And I think,
how can they just stop talking? I mean, how is it just not talked about?
I just don't think that the Democratic Party sees it as a political win. And
it doesn't matter political. First of all, I don't trust the mainstream media, period. Anything they say,
I don't trust either side.
I use it. I'll use that as a base point. Like, okay, this maybe happened, and then I'll do my own due diligence and find out what really happened. Because the mainstream media, they're paid to say what they say. Because if they don't say what they're told to say, they get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
It's the way the cookie crumbles, and I just don't understand it. I don't get it. I think there's something up, and that brings me to another point: 9/11. I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job, but I am very adamant about the fact that I have still yet to see a plane hitting the Pentagon. They've shown a footage of like clip, and then boom, but no plane. And actually, they never actually discovered any plane wreckage at the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sorry guys, that's my bad. I unplugged my audio source because my phone battery was running low and I got disconnected. But I'm back. We're all back. We're going to keep running it. Look, I want to give my opinion on this Vegas mass shooting thing. First off, 9/11 was very tragic, and Vegas was the most tragic mass shooting incident in American history. And anything that carries that sort of most significant title with it is still talked about to this day and will never be forgotten, just like 9/11. So, they talk about Sandy Hook, they talk about all these school shootings or whatever it is, and those have a clear
the Sandy
those
Hook,
all have a clear
the church
those all
shooting.
have a clear gunman, and we know who they were, and we know that they did it, and a lot of them are still alive, right? But this whole thing, it's real fishy, and I'm one to not be a crazy conspiracy theorist, but when something really, really grabs me and I can see how it's true and stuff doesn't add up, when stuff didn't add up about Epstein, I started to get real, real curious about that. And, a lot of people make memes and jokes about that, but I think a lot of that shit's pretty sketchy. And it's the same thing with this Vegas shit. It's some variation, in my opinion, of what you just described, of him getting taken out and then having someone else do the shooting. The bottom line is that in today's world, there's all these Antifa people, and I don't know if you know about those Virginia rallies that were going on, but Antifa sent out a message that they were going to pose as MAGA supporters and incite violence during these protests, which are supposed to be peaceful by these gun owners and gun supporters. And they're really radical. They're almost, in some eyes, considered a terrorist organization, which they have every right to be. And something like that, where they can push this narrative and get it in the news about, especially because the bump stocks were being used, and it puts assault weapons in the wrong light, and because it was in the hands of somebody who shouldn't have had them. But the thing is that there are people in this country who will go to no end, every single end, no matter what it is, to pretty much get their narrative across by any means necessary. And that there are people out there, and that very well could have been those people that did something like this and flipped the script on, what's his name, Paddock.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying. And all I'm getting at is there's something fishy about it. Just like 9/11. There was a lot of fishy shit in 9/11 that went down. That doesn't make sense. But the government was involved, which I don't think that's the case. But I think that they knew something was going to happen and didn't stop it. And this is all due to Cheney. And because Bush, honestly, was just a puppet to Cheney, or a lapdog, if you want to call him. I think Cheney ran that organization, or that administration. Cheney was the boss. And what I'm getting at is they use that as like a false flag, 9/11 as a false flag operation to go into the Middle East and keep it destabilized so they could gain control of the oil.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there are people out there who will, they completely dismiss every conspiracy theory, and the thing is that people don't.
I mean, have you read the 9/11 Commission report? It's total trash bullshit.
Yeah.
I read it. I was like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god,
The thing is that people think we live in a society in a country where everything is what the media says it is. Everything is like what you would expect it to be. It all fits the way the book would have had it. And the bottom line is that there are people in this country who have a lot of power, and there are people in this country who don't have a lot of power, and there are a lot of underground organizations and people who will go to any means necessary to push a narrative and or accomplish a goal, whether it's taking oil or banning certain bump stocks or guns or whatever it may be. And there are people like that. It's a sad reality, but it's the truth that there are people and organizations that have that power and ability to do things like that. And, people a lot of times will just dismiss that and say, there's no way that would ever happen. How could they be on a left-wing organization and incite so much terror? Well, the bottom line is that just because they have certain beliefs doesn't mean that they're not going to go and be radical about any means necessary to push their beliefs and get them across the board. You know what I mean? And it does happen.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my whole point, basically. That was my whole point.
Yeah. Tiz, I think we're running close to 2 hours total. You think we should wrap it up?
We're about to wrap it up right now. Last thing I want to talk about real quick. It's a funny thing to me. The FDA is cool with K, shrooms, and Molly. K meaning, I think, special K, ketamine. I'm assuming is that what that means? But weed is a gateway drug. To explain his lack of support of legalization, Joe Biden cited a line of reasoning at odds with federally approved science. Fuck off, Joe Biden, you fucking piece of shit. If you think those drugs are good, which they're fun, they're horrible for your body, weed is the complete opposite. It does great things for your body. When was the last time you guys made a mistake or made a bad decision when you were high off of marijuana?
I can't think.
Besides getting caught with it, I guess. But other than that,
I think I ordered too much food on Grubhub once.
Yeah, I mean, okay, all right. You eat too much food. I get all that, but I'm just saying, like, weed is something to me, like. If I'm like feeling crazy and I want to go out and drink, party and all that, like whatever, if I smoke a little bit of weed, and this is in my past, okay, not now, I would smoke weed and it would like ground me and be like, oop, no, I'm not going out. And I would stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to claim that fucking weed is a gateway drug and more dangerous than special K, which is ketamine, shrooms, and Molly, fuck you, Joe Biden.
Well, I don't think ketamine and Molly are the two that kind of stand out beside shrooms, because shrooms, they're actually, they're studying a lot of, it's kind of like a marijuana in a sense.
It is. It opens your mind. It's like acid.
It's not exactly like acid. It's more euphoria than it is a psychedelic.
Let's just put it this way. Acid, you take a hit of acid, you're in about 10 minutes, you're going to be talking to Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Literally.
If you take shrooms, you're just going to be looking at a wall and it's just going to look wavy. You're not going to be seeing
it depends on how
many
shrooms you take.
Trust me, you can't trip balls off shrooms.
It depends on the person.
Okay.
That's not true, Jared.
Wrong. I have tripped balls off shrooms. Balls. Like off the wall balls. Almost more than when I took acid for the first time.
Yeah.
So you're wrong about that. I have seen
drugs are
crazy shit.
Yeah.
Everybody's body is different. And everybody's body reacts to chemicals differently. I get that, but all I'm saying is I have had some crazy shroom trips.
I mean, there's some people who have psychedelic responses to marijuana.
Yeah,
because of the minor active ingredients.
Right, but the good thing about, in my opinion, about these shrooms or acid, when you take them, you're in your own world. But when you wake up the next day, you see it alters your brain. You see things in a different way forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my experience. Straight up. I mean, every time I've done a hallucinogen like shrooms or acid, which I've only done acid once, I've taken shrooms multiple times. But either way, the next day it's like it rewires your brain
Changes your
even when you're
perspective on
sober.
everything.
Yeah, it gives you. It's like it opens up like your brain, like the part that you typically don't use, and it makes you see things in a more clear perspective, especially the next day after you're done tripping.
When you come out, when you've come out of it, really.
Yeah, it's like holy shit. Like you think of everything differently. So fuck you, Joe Biden. Now I really don't support you at all. And on that note, we can wrap this up. I always like to end it with my sayings or whatever. But I'll let y'all go first, and then I'll say my shit at the last. So
John, you go.
What's your goodbye statement, guys?
I just want to thank you for having me on. It was a great talk.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome to be back on the show. Thank you. Anytime.
John, we need to get your podcast up and going. I know you made one. I don't know if you've released an episode, but we need to. You've kind of started to do the anchor thing and like setting it up kind of, but dude, I think we need to start running some pods on your account.
And I'd be happy to be a guest on your show.
Awesome, that would be great.
And I'll plug you in like on mine and get you followers.
Oh, awesome! Thanks.
Same with you, Jared.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, guys, I hope everyone's had a good week, having a good 2020. Make sure you wash your hands with this Corona shit going around. And if you haven't already checked it out, I would give it a couple days. But tomorrow, Chuck Tiz and John, you're also welcome to join. Please join. And maybe another person are going to drop a new episode on my channel with my new title. It's All Things Necessary, where we break down all sorts of shit, but only the necessary shit.
You're on Spotify.
I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, all the good stuff. I haven't really been taking it seriously, but I think I just ordered a new microphone and I'm feeling ready to really buckle down and do this and think of a structure for my show. So hopefully this thing will get up and running, and it could be a good little thing. I love doing this. Like Chuck Tiz always says, it's a therapeutic way of speaking your mind and talking about stuff. And you always feel better once you get done with an episode like this, and it's pretty rewarding.
Well, it's nice to bounce your thoughts and ideas off of other people and get other people's opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome getting to bounce your ideas off other interesting people.
Because I've done solo shows before, and they're cool, and people like them.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to have someone else on the show to bounce your opinions off and get feedback from the other people.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, quickly check it out. All Things Necessary on all platforms. And Chuck, I'm gonna leave it to you to wrap this thing up.
Yes. Well, thank you, listeners. Guys, we are gonna cut this one tonight. I say tonight. This will drop tomorrow. Which will be Thursday, March 5th. But the way I like to leave my shows to all my listeners and everybody is, first of all, don't do anything stupid. Be smart. Second, get your mind correct. And with that note, when you get your mind correct, keep your mind correct. And peace be with you. Fly fast and eat ass.
Wait, John, you got to say yours, dude.
Shake and bake.
All right, guys. Thanks for being on the show. It's been a good one. It'll be all live on all platforms tomorrow. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, sponsors Anchor and FNX Fit. You guys check them out. Great product. And that's it. That's all I got to say. So thank you guys for being on the show. I'm looking forward to doing being a co-host on Jared's tomorrow, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling. It's 2020, fam. It's 2020. This is our decade. This is our decade, not just our year. It's our decade to take over the world. And at that note, I'm gonna leave it
brick by brick, baby. Brick by brick.
Brick by brick, chase the fucking bag. Peace be with you. We're out.
Peace.
Later.